mission. We spoke about it a few years ago, and then since then you've been really driving this along with other partners. Thank you very much for your unstinted backing, for your wholehearted support. Suraj, we all know Uber's commitment, like you said, to safety and also to the city of Hyderabad, because your second largest campus in the world is right here in Hyderabad, and I do keep I keep thinking, I keep imagining that whatever you do in days to come, again you will be doing it in Hyderabad. Thank you for being a part of this. Rama Devi Garu, who's leading our emerging technologies wing, ma'am, you've been a terrific leader. Thank you very much. Of course, to Hemanji and also Vinod Garu, who's representing the TSRTC, I thank them also for their support and for their backing. Now, one thing that I'm reminded of today, when I listen in to all the amazing things that technology can help us with, is what Honorable Chief Minister keeps telling us. Each and every time, either myself or Jayesh or one of us tells him about this fancy new technology that's in town or fancy new technology that is around the corner, he always has only one question. He says, listen, I'm not a technocrat myself, I'm not a technologist per se, but what is it that this technology can do in terms of helping the common man, helping the man on the ground, in terms of the societal impact? Kya karega ye technology? Ye batao. That is what he keeps saying. And today, when I'm really delighted, I'm excited, to basically be able to answer, some of those concerns. I'd like to thank all of you, of course, for inviting me to the launch of this INAI. The applied research being undertaken by INAI is certainly helpful for not just Telangana, but for the entire country as well. And also, of course, to keep Telangana in the center and to keep, to ensure that Telangana remains the epicenter of these efforts. I would, of course, congratulate IIIT on, PJN was just joking. He was saying a lot of people confuse the names, IIIT and IIT. Which one of us should be taking it as an insult or a compliment is what he said. I think you should take it as a huge compliment, PJN, because Indian Institute of Technology, was conceptualized as a premier institute. The fact that IIIT Hyderabad today is rated much above many IITs in India is a great compliment. And I could hear the pain in your voice when you said we are self-sustaining. And I could also hear the pain when you said the government only gave me land, nothing else. I promise you one thing, he was just whispering in my ear that he needs some support for quantum computing labs that he's setting up. We will support you fully. I will assure you. I will ensure that you get that money that you require to do a nice quantum computing facility right here. And when Nivriti was mentioning, that ye government hai, dheere hota hai kaam, she was talking about Karnataka government, not us. Trust me, that's the government, that's the city that she lives in. So she was talking about them, not us, right? Sahi. Because I also was listening in very carefully when she said road safety and all. She said Nagpur mein roads theek hai, Bangalore mein worse hai. She didn't mention Hyderabad, so I'm guessing we are somewhere in between. Right, Nivriti? Somewhere in between, pakka. So, all in all, I think what I really liked about, what was mentioned earlier is how technology can be used, leveraged to save lives. Essentially, that's what it's about. I mean, save lives, improving standards of living, improving, our urban infrastructure, improving our road safety, ensuring that we do things right. I mean, ensuring governments improve their standards of functioning, so to speak. And as we all know, Gartner's 2022 CEO survey also indicates that AI is the top priority for business leaders for the third year in a row. In fact, back in 2020, when Government of Telangana had declared 2020 as a year of AI, little did we know that COVID was lurking around the corner. But we had a very ambitious agenda. But nevertheless, in fact, we went through the whole year doing multiple AI events, and Intel was, of course, a key part of many of those events. So AI and how it can be leveraged for the benefit of each and every person in the society. It could be a farmer, it could be a technologist, it could be a doctor, it could be somebody else. Everybody, in fact, can use AI, and in fact, COVID has also shown us that AI and the power of AI and how it can really help even the governments is something that we have truly appreciated over the last couple of years. Since AI acts as a new factor of production, Niti Aayog estimates that AI is expected to raise India's annual GVA growth rate by 1.3%, resulting in an addition of almost $957 billion to India's economy by 2035, which is 15% higher gross value added, which is GVA is obviously, as many of you would know, is a very close approximation of GDP. So almost 957 billion being added. You know, we keep hearing about the 5 trillion economy. I think 957 billion coming in from the power of AI is a huge potential for India to latch on, and every state in India, irrespective of what our challenges are, has to latch on to this opportunity, has to ensure, as Nivriti was pointing out, has to aspire to be the leader in terms of adoption of these technologies. Realizing this economic potential of AI, Telangana became the first state to initiate a focused effort with the launch of AI framework in 2020. Under this framework, we've launched number of programs, and we've been playing an active role and have been playing the role of an enabler for the AI ecosystem. We had set up the Telangana AI mission called as a TAIM, a dedicated institution in partnership with NASSCOM to drive all AI initiatives in the state. In fact, Nivriti is also a member of TAIM, which is a governing council, and has been offering strategic leadership as well. A very important initiative of TAIM has been the Rev Up Accelerator, which is currently supporting 80 plus MVP stage AI startups in a bid to generate unicorns over the coming years. Since availability of skilled manpower is critical to the growth of AI ecosystem, government has also taken up skilling programs for students and faculties. AI, ML, deep learning, etc. All of these are being done in association with corporations like IBM, Intel, Microsoft, and NASSCOM Future Skills. Over the past couple of years, around 25,000 plus students and 4,500 plus faculties have been trained in such programs anchored by Telangana Academy for Skills and Knowledge, TASK, which is a government entity. Now, the government is also further ambitious this year and seeks to train at least 100,000 youth in high school in foundation AI courses, and would be glad to partner with Intel under its AI for Youth program. Data, as has been mentioned, is at the core of AI, and McKinsey actually estimates that digital transformation in agriculture alone could unlock $70 billion in Indian agriculture sector. Therefore, the government has also initiated focused efforts on data enablement in agriculture. We recently released an agriculture data management policy to enable protected sharing of both personal and non-personal data. Since Government of India's Personal Data Protection Bill is yet to become an act, the ADMP fills this critical gap with the goal of agri-tech innovation and development of custom solutions for the state of Telangana that would benefit the farmers. We have also initiated the development of an agricultural data exchange, which could be a game changer, that allows the easy and protected and secure sharing of all agri-related data, duly taking the consent of the data owners. The innovators shall be able to easily test and build their solutions on top of the data access through ADEX. Let me just give you a fascinating example of what data can do. In my constituency in Sirsila, we have a remote village which is possibly about 165, 170 kilometers away in a tribal habitation, a place called Veernapalli, which is now a Mandal headquarters, which has recently been recognized as a block headquarters, but it was actually a village. You know, about 4 years ago, my honorable MP, the local MP, then it was Mr. Vinod Kumar, he had adopted Veernapalli. So we had traveled there. In fact, using his MP funds, he had set up a very interesting facility, a small facility where he wanted to use technology for the benefit of the farmers. In fact, he had consulted a technology company, which again, of course, was using AI even 4 years back, in trying to help the farmers, understand the pest and help them understand the soil fertility, etc., etc. So we were there to inaugurate the facility, and these were all farmers who were possibly not so literate, possibly semi-literate, if you ask me. So we were there, myself and the honorable MP and a bunch of officers, we were all there. So just like how we did today, We took a remote, we clicked the remote, the television set opened, and then there was a website which we had to click open, and we were trying to basically navigate through the website. So हम लोग कोशिश कर रहे थे, we were trying to understand how the website, and we were trying to also explain to the farmers how the website would help them, how the app would help them. There were two things, one a website and another an app. That was the first time I was seeing the website, so obviously I was not very familiar. And I was trying to understand, there was a trainer who was trying to, one of the faculty who's trained there, trying to explain to me, ki agar if you can just click a picture of the pest, it basically, will run through using AI as a platform and ML, basically show the farmer in Telugu what the pest is and what needs to be done, right? So he was trying to show me, he was trying to navigate through the website. वहाँ पे जो किसान थे, जिनको already training किया गया था, they were also there in the room, about 10-15 of them. So the guy who was actually trying to show me the website, he was having a tough time navigating through the website. But this farmer who was standing right next to me, वो कह रहे थे कि नहीं वहाँ नहीं, next window में जाओ, वहाँ से नीचे जाओ, go to the drop down. I was like, wow, this guy really knows what he's saying. So I said, ये आपको कैसे मालूम है? He said, sir, we've been using that for a month or so now. And of course, the formal launch is today, but we've been using it for almost a month, so soft launch has already happened. And he was actually guiding the trainer कि आप यहाँ जाओ, यहाँ जाओ, यहाँ जाओ, फिर वहाँ जा क्लिक करो, फिर जाके आपको वो आ जाएगा. तो I was zapped. I said, what is your formal training? What did you study? He said 10th or +2. He's not somebody who's very well conversant in English. He's not somebody who really understands a line of code. He's not somebody who's possibly trained in any kind of AI or AI module, or he knows nothing, I'm sure, about ML. But the fact is, when a farmer, when he sees value in the product that is being put out in front of him, and when he understands the power of leveraging technology for his benefit, I think they'll latch on to it very, very quickly. The beautiful thing about India and our citizens is, when I was in the US, when I was doing my masters there, and when I used to come back to India to visit my family and friends, I always used to be amazed because वहाँ हम लोग मोटे-मोटे वो मोटोरोला वाले और नोकिया के फ़ोन सेट यूज़ करते थे. 98, 99 की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं. When I was there, 99, 2000 possibly. So we used to have these, वहाँ पे Verizon, वहाँ पे क्या AT&T के बाकी companies थे, और वहाँ पे they used to bundle those packages. The telcos there used to bundle services and offerings, and they used to offer these big mota handset. So as a student, obviously I didn't have money, so I used to buy one of those nice handsets, the big one. But when I used to land in India and come and see my friends here, they all had these sleek handsets. I was like, what is happening? America तो थोड़ा हमसे ज़्यादा अमीर है, तो ये लोग क्या कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे? मतलब the point I'm trying to make is, Indians have always been good. India as a country and the citizens have always been good when it comes to adoption of technology. If we realize the value, right in front of our eyes, especially my generation, which is witness to the telecom revolution. For those of you who are born after 2000, you would not understand what I'm saying, but prior to that, I'm sure PJN would understand. There was a time when to get a landline connection at home was a huge, humongous task. It was an achievement of sorts. I remember a time when घर पे अगर phone नहीं होता, and those of you who speak Telugu will understand, PP बोलते हैं, पक्किंटी phone. You have a phone in the next door neighbor, so whenever you give out your phone number, you would give it out as PP, right? So to get a phone was a task. You needed an MP's recommendation letter. You needed to go to the BSNL, do a nice, ego massage there so as to get a phone connection, and then eventually the phone set would come. You would pick up every day if you're a kid, if you're enthused about a new phone at home, you would wait for the ringtone. It's not happening. You remember, for those of you who are possibly from my generation, you would also remember trunk calls. We used to call the exchange fellow. There was only one in Hyderabad, I think Lagdika Pool, which is where it is, even now. We used to call them, book trunk call to Sangareddy, book trunk call to Karimnagar, etc., etc. But see what has happened right in front of our eyes. The landline is gone, it's passé now. Nobody wants a landline phone anymore at home. After the telecom, sector has been opened up by Government of India, the kind of revolution we have witnessed right in front of our eyes. Today, each and every one of us has at least one mobile phone for sure. Some of us have two, some of us have three. You know, Pegasus and other things, do take a toll. So all of these things, that have come in right in front of our eyes, how technology has really transformed our lives in terms of communications, in terms of being able to be in touch with what's happening across the world, etc. And all the other technologies that have revolutionized the way we think. COVID was a great example. We've seen, some enterprises which have shown the world that you need not be in a small town or a big town to be able to work from home. You could even be working from your village. As long as technology and as long as connectivity is there, I think you're fine. As much as we love, as much as we would love to believe that technology is a great leveler, it is also a fact that it's a great connector. I mean, it really connects people of all strata. It really connects people of all hues and shades across the world. Helps you learn from each other. I think that's the transformative power of technology which Indians have always been good at adopting. So the whole $957 billion value that AI can bring in by 2035. I'm very passionate about it because I think it will not only have a transformative effect on the people at large, it will also have a transformative effect on our economy. It will also help India adopt better. It will also help India propel itself into the league of first world countries sooner than later. Our Honorable Chief Minister, like I said, always reminds us of this. He says, क्या फायदा है इससे जो तुम टेक्नोलॉजी की बात कर रहे हो? Whatever you are mentioning to me right now, what is the point of and startups and the whole startup culture? He always asks, what is it that you guys are going to be able to do to help the man on the ground? And that is the fundamental question that we need to answer. Today, IIIT, I was an American company had come to me. I would not name names. They said, we have this cool technology which is going to give you an alert. As municipal minister, as urban development minister, you need to know how safe your roads are, how the lane discipline is being followed. So if somebody abruptly cuts into your lane, I can send you an alert to your command control center. I smiled, I said, no, why don't you give me an alert when somebody is actually coming at me in a one-way street? He said, why would you need that? I said, welcome to India, welcome to Hyderabad. That's how we live. It's organized chaos. So point I'm trying to make is, I've said this before and I'll say it again. India cannot merely ape or copy what's happening in the West. A solution that would have worked brilliantly in Los Angeles or in New York or San Francisco will not work equally well here. We need solutions like IIIT, where TSRTC, where our local faculties, our local researchers, our local companies have to work together. We need our own solutions, our own recipes, because our challenges are different. We don't have the same exact challenges. We don't exactly have the same set of problems. So therefore, I'm delighted, thrilled that we will be able to save. Mr. Vinod was mentioning that they spend about 50 crores in terms of compensation payments annually, which is 4 crores per month. This is a huge number for a loss-making corporation, which a corporation which is still in losses. I think this is the sort of technological interventions, disruptions that we really need to ensure that our entities become safer, our citizens' lives are saved, our corporations are benefited, and our people at large and our society at large is also helped. We have also, in fact, launched something very interesting in the agriculture domain, because more than 50% of our population depends on agriculture still. Our flagship project using AI is called Sagu Bagu. Sagu, as you all know, is basically farming. Bagu is good practices in farming. We're doing this in tandem with World Economic Forum, wherein various emerging technologies, including AI, are being deployed on ground in a PPP mode. And we believe that we'll cover about 50,000 plus farmers in 2 years. Under this, agri-tech players are also helping boost farmer incomes by deploying various solutions such as sowing window advisory, irrigation, soil nutrition advisories, etc. that help the farmers adhere to best practices and solutions like digital market connect, digital quality assaying, etc. Now, agri-tech projects that we have undertaken are delivering promising results already. For instance, AI-based pest management solution that was deployed in partnership with Vadhvani AI across 6 districts of Telangana to solve the pink bollworm menace for cotton farmers, which is a rather a horrendous problem for cotton farmers. The impact study undertaken by EY indicates up to 20% of increased profits, resulting from a mix of increased yield and lower input costs. So as long as you're able to give good advisory to farmers on the window in which they have to actually sow the seed, to what kind of efforts they have to put in to ensure that the soil fertility remains good, and also soil health remains good, and most importantly, how do you do pest management? I think a combination of all this will really deliver the much needed knockout punch, if you ask me, in terms of improving their farmers' income. Telangana has also become a very, very interesting example with the implementation of a unique RTDAI, the real-time digital authentication of identity system, deployed across several citizen-facing services. In fact, I say this very proudly. I get messages, and I don't know how many of you have used it, but Telangana is possibly the only state in the country where you can renew, not get a new one, but renew your driver's license sitting at home on a Sunday. This is the only state which allows you to do that by authenticating your digital identity in real time. Now that is something that is truly important from a citizen's perspective, because it saves you from the hassle of visiting an RTA facility. In 21-22, about 1,20,000, which is about 40% of our pensioners, availed the life certificate through RTDAI, and 90,000 citizens availed the services of transport department through RTDAI. Now, what has a pensioner got to do with this? A pensioner has to submit, to avail pension continuously. Every year you have to basically go to an office, visit, and ensure that they understand that you need to receive pension and you need to receive your benefits going forward as well. Now that at this point in time in Telangana can be done by using the RTDAI, the real-time digital authentication. Now today when I stand here, I'm glad to see that INAI's projects are focused on building AI solutions for population scale. I think that's the most important point, because whatever solutions that we come out with, for a large country like India, unless they're scalable, unless they help the large majority of the population, it would just remain a lab experiment. The micro labs is a highly unique initiative that shall bring genomic surveillance for the communicable diseases to point of care. Therefore, to bring the lab to brings the lab to the people. In fact, when one of the speakers before me was mentioning that data-driven drug discovery is the order of the day, I think it was you, sir. I have to tell you, Novartis, which is one of the largest pharma companies in the world, has about 9,000 people in Hyderabad, and they do precisely that. They do digital drug discovery. In fact, it's their second largest facility in the world. And they're not, in fact, they're right here in Raidurgam, very close to where you are. They're not a pure play R&D facility here. They employ a lot of biostatisticians, bioinformatics, people who are experts in bioinformatics, and they do precisely this. They do a lot of simulation, they do a lot of data-driven analysis, and have been able to come out. In fact, according to Vas Narasimhan, who's the CEO of Novartis, each and every time I meet him, he always tells me how his center in Hyderabad is at the center of everything, literally. Now, the broad genomic surveillance for communicable diseases and the development of AI-enabled models for preemptive surveillance for susceptible subgroups is an extremely important area. Hyderabad, in fact, I keep saying, on a lot of forums, Hyderabad is that city where biology meets technology, where artificial, data sciences meets life sciences, where Mangoverse meets Metaverse, where North of India meets South of India. So Hyderabad is that melting pot, which you could really leverage in these points of intersection. Information technology is an extremely strong area for us, and so is life sciences, so is biology. So a combination of this is what Novartis does, and in fact I've been pitching this to a number of other pharma companies. Some of them have shown interest, and I'm very confident that these points of intersection where technology can really help a lot of enterprises, I believe is something that will really propel in terms of providing an opportunity for a lot of youngsters who are seated here over the next 1 decade or so. I'm delighted that Bodhyan is also, as a platform, has taken off, and it shall go step further in building the critical data sets in mobility that are required for the Indian driving conditions. Grey spots, black spots, even if we are able to save a few lives a year, I think it's a huge achievement in itself. The advanced mapping using cameras, LiDARs, night vision cameras, radars shall help develop robust solutions that can be used to leverage human error-induced accidents. We are already looking to leverage the outcome data set to host a mobility-related grand challenge under TAIM and build solutions for India and also save lives. The iRaste, as I was mentioning, will be deployed in about 200 RTC buses, TS RTC buses, and I'm confident that it will not only save lives but also help the corporation and also help the drivers as well. While there is an obvious direct benefit of alerts which can be sent to the TS RTC drivers and the management and to even Uber. I appreciate Uber partnering in this. I'm glad that the road network shall also be mapped, which I think is very, very important. And the data collected then can be used for dynamic risk assessment in terms of what are the challenges and what need to be addressed. I congratulate the entire team who's seated here, Nivritti, Intel, Ramadevi Garu, Suraj from Uber, Mr. Vinod from TSRTC, to the entire team of IIIT, of course, led by PJN. I'm not mentioning all of you individually. I hope you don't mind. I think you're all represented here by your director. And I'm very confident that under your leadership, sir, that this mission will